Okay, and I'll turn it over to John to talk in more detail about the MDD.
Thank you so much for covering all of that. I really think that the last 8 months of my life have really been about understanding those documents, those policy documents that you were just describing, because the metadata dictionary has been where my brain has been for the last couple of years, but you know, those policy documents are really important. And one of the things that I've noticed as I've been doing privacy compliance and checking everybody's websites in the last year is that some websites, it's very easy for me with the mindset of a parent to find where this stuff is located on a website. Sometimes maybe, it might be under board policies, or maybe on some websites you've got it under the tech department, or some of you have got it under the employees tab because that's where you want your teachers to look for approved applications. I know some folks that have put it in their footer, along with other sorts of policy documents like bullying and things like that. I guess what I'm getting at is my hope as a parent would be that if I needed to look at this stuff, because that's the point of the legislation, is it's for that transparency with the parents, that I'm able to find it, and I know that everybody in your district wants to have front and center, like, this is important, pay attention to this. But I think that, the more that we can kind of just say, hey, it's just right there. Hey, parent, yeah, it's just right there. Oh, yeah, it's just right there. No problem. Let me know if you've got any questions, because all that stuff, it's just right there. Some of you may know that I joke sometimes. I joke about a lot of stuff, but I don't joke about how cool I think a really good PDF is. Like, a really good PDF, a really good document is like an amazing thing. And this, Katie, please bow. This document is so comprehensive. It is so visually appealing. But this document really can, if you've got the spoons to just go through it, really kind of identify with it as much as you can. But it's super thorough. It's not convoluted. It's very clear. But as you can see here, what it does is it really just can talk you through every single one of these steps. There's so many different resources provided, hyperlinks and whatnot. And this is something that we are constantly, kind of curating and keeping updated. And as you can see here, we kind of let you know what's going on up here. But it does talk about the 3 different platforms that you can use, and you can use whatever kind of display. These are the 3 that everybody essentially uses for the most part. SDPC, which is the Student Data Privacy Consortium, Learn Platform, or we have a Google Sheet template that we created that some folks just copy and paste. And a lot of this, what you choose is really based on the size and the scale of your LEA. If you're just like a little Montessori school and, you use a handful of things, technology is just not where you're at, a Google Sheet template, something that's kind of easy to maintain and you can just put it over there, that's great. SDPC is where a lot of us have this space, and I'm going to put in a plug for SDPC as what element SDPC has that these others don't, which I think, and this element is not required, however, required by us as far as compliance and what we're checking in regards to the agreements that you actually have, the actual documents that if a parent wants to see the document, SDPC is the one that allows that to happen. It allows you not necessarily just to see it, but this is where you can store your documents. This is your digital filing cabinet, in a sense. And unless you have your documents here, then we assume that those agreements are stored elsewhere in a filing cabinet next to Janice's desk. I don't know. But what we have here, these are the three most common: Student Data Privacy Consortium. That's a national group. We are able to see what vendors are doing across the country. We put a lot of our professional development and things into SDPC. So if you are new to this, please contact us and we can walk you through how we can make it as pain-free as possible. We are developing some new nuances where we are the ones that are approving agreements before they go through. So I'd like to reiterate for those of you that haven't been doing a lot of privacy stuff since last June, that Nicole and I flipped a switch in SDPC that made it that before all agreements go live, that we approve them and check them for efficacy, because we can't have agreements that are incomplete or incorrect going into a system where they can be subscribed to by other agencies, thus creating a ripple effect that causes a huge problem. So we are now the ones that are approving things. If there are issues or elements that are incorrect in the agreements that you have uploaded, we will send you some feedback in regard to what needs to be changed, and we can have those conversations in regard to that. But hopefully this is something that going forward in the school year, SDPC is something that we can start using a lot more of, because we have a new agreement template. For those of you that know, that there is the NDPA, the National Data Privacy Agreement. It's our standard agreement that we use for Metadata Dictionary, for us to say that this is the product that we are using. This vendor is following the data privacy provisions that we as a state require. And these are all of the elements that are being collected. And there are other aspects of those contracts that are important in working with third parties, and your LEA should have those in place prior to a teacher using those products. It's just kind of one of those, cover yourselves, because data breaches happen and we need to have these things in place. Learn Platform is a fantastic thing in regards to the scale of your LEA. This thing is, there's folks out there. If you guys are in the chat and you feel like Learn Platform is really working for you and your teachers, and it's a great interface for teachers to see what's going on, Learn Platform is great in talking about what we're looking at going forward with this compliance, because Learn Platform has already got your inventory. If you're using Learn and it's on your library, then your inventory should be pretty comprehensive. We just need to tweak some of those little factors that we talked about: the purpose, the justification, and the FERPA exception. So I like to think of Learn as it's kind of like a Ferrari, but maybe you're too small to drive the Ferrari. I have noticed that the LEAs that have the most the slickest operation when it comes to, getting data privacy agreements, securing those with the vendors, having actual relationships with the vendors, and then being able to put it into a format that is easy for teachers to access and look at. I like a combination of SDPC and Learn Platform, or maybe, we can have conversations about what works best for you, but we have some of these examples right here. We also have our Canvas course for you, the data managers, that have a lot more resources on that in regards to Metadata Dictionary, and I could just talk about it all day long. So, Metadata Dictionary requirement versus the data privacy agreements requirement. Some LEAs think that the metadata dictionary requirement and the requirement to have data privacy agreements are the same thing. And that's not true. They're like two separate columns in this kind of infrastructure of what we've got going here. There's a difference between the requirements for the metadata dictionary and having those actual agreements. So like, say you are using the Google Sheet and you have a metadata dictionary that is there, and I can see all of the variables that I'm looking for, but that doesn't have a link to the agreements. That's those two things don't go in conjunction. That's fine. The data privacy agreement requirement is separate from the metadata dictionary. You could use the same tool to address both, like SDPC does, or a combination, or none of them. And I'm going to read this out loud. But some folks are starting to use SDPC for managing DPAs, like I discussed, using Learn Platform to communicate with parents and employees. And we can help set up that infrastructure. And our good friend Madra from Learn, she's kind of like the fourth Beatle here. She's the one that we don't, she's the production, she's the one that makes all of our beats good. But she is so helpful as a partner in this, that they have been able to bake into Learn a lot of the stuff that we need. Okay. So if you need training on the platform that you use, or you don't know what platform to use, or somebody was using a platform and I don't know anything about it because today is day 2. I mean, this is going to be your go-to email 9 times out of 10. privacy@schools.utah.gov. That gets to all of us. We can help you there. Madra from Learn Platform. If you want to explore Learn Platform, it is available to, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember exactly what the Learn Platform agreement status is. Is it available to all, or is it still just digital teaching and learning grants? If you guys can clarify who it is available to in the chat for me, that would be awesome. But Learn Platform is really, really cool. You'll see some examples of what it looks like over here, I'm sure. And then we've got that Google template, and you can click on these links to set that up. And you don't want to contact Katie for this. You can just contact, us. So disregard this email address. I mean, if you want to contact Katie, it's great. But you really want to only contact Katie if something bad has happened, or if you've got something to share that it's amazing. All right. Last year, some of you remember we had 3 options. This year, we're making it simple. Because anybody that's gone to Gandolfo's knows that when your menu has so many items on it, you can't choose, and you just walk out the door and go to Jimmy John's because they only have a couple to pick from. And so we're giving you a smaller menu of things to choose from, because it's just going to make your life easier. Here's what we want you to do. We're going to give you this survey, and you're going to say, okay, here are all my policy documents, link, 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 or not, because you're assuring us that, you passed last year and you're good. When it comes to metadata dictionary, we've got these 2 choices, okay? And you'll select which one you want us to use. So on the survey, you will indicate that your metadata dictionary is comprehensive, that you feel that you are including all the products that your LEA uses. Can some of you put in the chat an estimate, if you were to do a moonshot, how many products do you think your LEA uses officially, maybe? How many products do you think you're using unofficially? And yeah, Robert Gordon, Jimmy John's has my name in it. When I used to work in after school programs, that's what the kids called me, was Jimmy John's. Anyways, because I always ate Jimmy John's for lunch. Anyway, let us know how many products you are using, how many think you're using, because the idea when it comes to comprehensive, like, if I'm a parent, I go on your website and you're like one of the biggest school districts in the state, and you've got like 30 products on your metadata dictionary, I mean, my gut doesn't tell me that that's comprehensive. It tells me that there's probably a lot more out there that we don't have. And that's kind of where the problem might come in, is that if we don't have something listed that we are using, if we don't have a data privacy agreement with something that we're using, that's when we run into issues. And our community that looks into this, parents, have in the past with some LEAs in our state, they have found issue with that. And that has become a problem. So when it comes to comprehensive, we want to put as many things out there as possible. But those of you that have 27 products on your thing, how do you know what to put on there? How do you know what to do to make it comprehensive? And we're going to really help you out with that. So what we've got here is, you can just say, guess what? We've gone through we feel like we're really mature in this process. We're pretty comprehensive. We're going to give you an assurance that we're good. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to spot check your metadata dictionary, and we're going to check it for accuracy and completeness. And we're going to do these things. We're going to check for clarity of your purpose. What we discussed, that's that advertisement to the parent. What is this thing? Clarity meaning like, Canvas in Learn platform, Canvas says something like, join a class now, blah, 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 blah. It's something that's baked into that description of Canvas, but that wouldn't be a stated purpose that is clear. That doesn't tell me as a parent what Canvas does, because I mean, we all know what Canvas does. But that's the point, is that sometimes in Learn platform or in some of these other instances, it's not giving us the baked in thing that we want. So we need to add that additionally. So if you are a Learn platform user, that's something that you're going to want to pay attention to, is adding a little bit of a narrative, maybe a sentence or two, as to what the product is, does, what is the purpose. And then they've been really good baking in justification and FERPA exception as badges or different things in Learn platform. All of this stuff is incorporated into SDPC, and all of this stuff is a part of that Google Sheet. Those are just little boxes that we can click. And then, you can publish it to your website. You can make the document readable and then just link it if that's how you choose to go about it. Option 2 is kind of just the flip side of the coin, that you are approaching comprehensiveness. I mean, I would say that option 1 is, I'm confident. And option 2 is, I could use a little bit more self-care. I need a little bit more self-care. And I need you to help me set it up. So on the survey, you'll indicate that you're approaching comprehensiveness. And what we've done, and option 1, you guys may want to take a look at this leading up to your submission of the survey. But I think everybody is going to want to look at what we've created, what Nicole and Katie actually have created. There's this list in that will be linked, is the state provided products. There's about 45 on here. So if you've got a metadata dictionary that's got 27 products on it, just know that there are about 45 state provided products, either through USBE, which are a lot of our assessments, or through UETN, which is like a lot of the fun stuff, the Adobes and the Canvases and the Nearpods and those things. I think it's Nearpod, maybe. Strike that from the recording. So this is your state provided products, 45, okay? And then what we've done is we've put together this list of commonly used products. And I think that we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a moment. But what we're going to do is give you all of these things. And essentially what this is this is a reverse engineered inventory. What we're asking is, you go down this list and you say, hey, of these state products, these are the ones that I'm using. And you input them into your display accordingly. And we've set it up to where it's just basically copy and paste. Then this commonly used product list, you just go down that and check it. Do the same thing. It's going to be so easy. So easy. Right here. State provided products, Appendix F. Commonly used products. That's Appendix G. Comprehensive. You know what? I bet you could change it in the background and switch slides and come back, and it'd be like that ghost from last night. So on the survey, you will indicate that your metadata dictionary is comprehensive, meaning that you have included all third-party products that your LEA uses in your metadata dictionary. Learn, SDPC, or your Google Sheet, or if you're creative, some sort of other way. But that needs to include those metrics, those 4 metrics that we've talked about. So I know some of you actually do have a proprietary method, but it does not include those things. And so while it displays your approved products, it doesn't have the metrics associated with those products, and so thus is not a completed metadata dictionary according to the legislation of Utah Law 53E-9-309. We will spot check those 10 things. Yes, go ahead.
This is Katie here. Hi, everyone. And John, you've done a great job explaining this so far. I just wanted to like reiterate for clarity, especially for those of you who are new. These options that John is talking about, these are options. Basically, you're going to tell us how you want us to review you.
Okay.
So in the survey that you'll complete, the privacy compliance review survey, you're going to tell us, oh, please review me according to option 1, or, oh, please review me according to option 2. So that's what anyway, John, I don't mean to you're doing a good job explaining it. I'm just thinking, like, if you're brand new, I just want you to understand that's what we're talking about here. These 2 options is like telling us how you want us to review you. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Yeah, let's actually stop and see. Does anybody have any like major questions so far? I mean, we're at a halfway point. I think that, we've got like some, we've got a little bit more content to talk about. I feel like we're on a good pace, but like, let's just take like a breather for a sec. Is everybody good? Is anybody like stumbling so far on anything that we've discussed so that we can check for understanding? I'll give you about 30 seconds to put anything in the chat if you need to. Go grab a drink, go refill your coffee. Thank you. That was helpful because, if any of you have done like a webinar like this, where you've got like 90 people in a room and you're just talking to the wall in your kitchen.
Well, weird. And John, I do apologize for interrupting, because it's possible everyone was on the same page. I'm just thinking in case anyone needed extra clarity.
Those points of clarity are important because I'm just kind of like going stream of consciousness.
And I think it's good to pause so we can keep giving you a hard time, John.
Well, so what's your favorite to order at Jimmy John's, Robert? I'm just kidding.
Never been there.
Oh. Box Elder needs some Jimmy John's.
Yeah, they probably do. I don't know if we have one up here or not. I'm just not that guy, right? That goes out.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. There's, All right, I'm going to keep chugging forward. All right, so this is actually Appendix G, so we will correct this for the record. This is our commonly used products. I'm super excited about this, actually, because I know that and here's option 2, of course. So to clarify what Katie was saying as we're coming back, you in the survey the first part of the survey is, okay, John, Kate, Nicole, here's all of our annual policy notices. Here's the links to them. Then the next part is like, okay, option 1, this is how I want you to check my metadata dictionary. Or option 2, this is how I want you to check my metadata dictionary. Add products, resources to your metadata dictionary. Okay. When one of the coolest things I think that came about last year when I was working with folks doing the compliance and we were working through it, was really kind of utilizing the metadata dictionary instruction document in some creative ways. And one of the ways that I felt was really creative, especially for those of us that use SDPC and Learn, too, I'm not super familiar with the backside of Learn, how things are put in, but I'm sure that the functionality, you could do the same thing. Essentially, what I was instructing folks to do, what site do I use for my AI? Which one, the picture or my brain? I'm part AI. If you're not on my team, you don't know that. What we have here is an example of Appendix G. These are not state-provided products. These are essentially the products that most of you are using. And we'll explain how we know that here in a little bit. But essentially what this does is we put this element of the metadata dictionary instructions document, and I would like throw that on the right side of my screen. So it would take up this half of the screen. And then what I would do is I would open SDPC or Learn, and I would snap it to this half of the screen. And then what we would do is just kind of work step by step through each one of these products and then go over here. And I know that there are a few of you, we did this. And the thing is it was so funny. We would be talking on the Zoom and I'd show you the workflow and we'd go through like 2 or 3 of these. And then you would just keep going and we would start talking about something else. And then all of a sudden, like you would be in the flow of just click, click, boom, click, click, boom. And we'd have to end the call because you're like, I'm just in the flow. Just let me keep going. And, you know, I felt like there are a lot of folks that utilized the things that we've created in a way to where it's really simple to just go look at this step by step. So what I'm getting at is that what we have is in the instructions document, we list, you know, what's the product's name. But in SDPC, it does have, you know, different names as it would in like Learn. So like in Learn platform, it's called Canva. And in SDPC, it's Canva for Education. SDPC has like 8,000 different products listed in it. And it can be really easy to just mislabel something. So we'll want to take a look at these and be a little bit cognizant of what we're looking at as we're going through. But I'll tell you what, if you need help setting up a good flow, a good infrastructure, excuse me, we can really help you with that. And it gets so quick, folks. It gets so quick. So this is the bane of my existence. Well, one of them. I mean, I have a 9-year-old son that's 5'4", but that's besides the point. The purpose. The purpose, as I've mentioned, is one of those elements of what we check for. That is that description. And it's really confusing sometimes when we're using SDPC because where we input the purpose, the box for that is separate from where we input everything else. So sometimes it gets omitted, sometimes it gets forgotten. It's one of the things that I've worked with the developers to try to make it a little bit more prominent. However, we also are working with a national group and sometimes, you know, we just don't get our way, but we're still working. However, going in and editing the purpose, should you have something on the report that you're looking at right now, if you go down to that bottom part, it says metadata dictionary, and that column that says purpose has something that's red in it, it's because it's one of these silly interface kind of things. It's not because you've done anything wrong. So going in and editing the purpose, if you have questions on how to do that, I have a tutorial that is a video tutorial and a screenshot tutorial that is in our USPA shared drive folder, which I don't know, Nicole, could you grab a link to that and throw it in there? And just so like, if you are looking at your report right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got like 3 of these purposes, you could probably correct that by the end of our call. If you watched that, I mean, you can look at the screenshot one and listen to me right now. But essentially, this could be done and corrected before the end of our call. Like, what would it be like? I didn't even think about this. What would it be like if by the end of the day, some of you looked at this and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so simple. Click, click, boom. And we've got like 10 more LEAs that are compliant by the end of today. Can we do that? Do you think that's possible? Is there anybody in the chat that feels like, you know what? I'm going to be compliant by the end of the week. If you can do that, I will give you a high five. And I'm 6'5", and so if you can slap my hand, that's fantastic. Use the Google Sheet template or other resources below to reference free purposes already written for you. Oh my gosh, it's just free. It's all in here. It's all done. We already have the purpose written for you. All you have to do is copy and paste it. It's so easy. It's so easy. Adding a justification. The justification is essentially, we aren't going, no, justification is, who are those three entities? Which one of those three entities is governing the decision to use this product? Is it the feds? Is it the state? Or is it you locally? All you have to do, if on your sheet right now, you see that the red things that you are missing is a justification, I guarantee you, you can fix that in less than 10 minutes. Less than. For, a lot of them. I can guarantee you. Are any of you old enough to remember that guy? What was his name? The cowboy hat? Was he a car salesman, or was it like rent to own? I can't.
Justin Wilson, he was a Cajun cook.
Was he? Okay, cool. We're gonna have to go back and do a deep dive into YouTube and show some of these millennial Gen Zs what's going on. Add a FERPA exception. Oh my gosh, if you have a red thing on your report, you can fix this in seconds. This is the idea of, is that lady from our community coming in and using the typewriter and the stopwatch, or are we using nitro type? That is in FERPA, the one that says, hey parents, these are your laws. This is your data, but we can share it with exceptions. And one of those exceptions is the school official. And 9 times out of 10, school official is going to be your FERPA exception. So all you're going to do is go into one of your things and click which one it is. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be that school official. It's doing something that's otherwise done by somebody else in your facility. The ones that aren't are going to be maybe something like audit and evaluation, or something that is going to be coming up more and more for us as a state, is we're going to have new agreements for researchers as well, not just actual ed tech products. This part is really kind of confusing, but it's actually simple. And we've kind of, let's kind of reframe the conversation around this last part in the law in regard to metadata dictionary, is that we need a list of data elements shared with each product or resource. And then we needed a definition of data elements. So a lot of this was like, oh my gosh, we've got to go through every single element. And those of you that use SDPC, we have those elements in there, right? You can click on that little magnifying glass on the right and it'll pop up on that window and it'll show me as a parent every single piece of data that you're sharing, even their bus stop and my email and all sorts of stuff. It's so scary, all the things that are shared. But the truth of the matter is that we just need a single list of data elements shared with the products and the definitions. So the way that this can be met is fairly simple. And if this is something that is red on your report, it is something that can be corrected very easily. We have links already on SDPC. So if you use SDPC, this is baked in. You have this perfectly baked in. If you use Learn Platform, there is a way in the metadata dictionary instructions for you to, oh my gosh, look at this. It's as though like I'm segueing into the next part. We thought that it was like this, but we needed every single thing, but it's not required. All you need is maybe a link to a single list. And in Learn Platform, it can look like this. Comments from Jordan School District. Look at this. Continue to identify. What does this look like in Learn Platform? The data received, we've got some of the different things. But we don't necessarily need that all for each product. Or what could it look like in Google Sheets? No, we don't need it. What you can do instead is create another sheet at the bottom instead of arduously going through every single one of these data points. Yeah, we want to know this. We do want to know this. But that's not exactly part of the compliance piece. We're going, it's the conversation between compliance and, best practice. What's good for the conversation. That's not necessarily something that we're specifically checking for. What it actually is what we can do, what you can do, according to how it's written, is that there is this definitions page on SDPC that's already been created, or there is this Google Sheet template that's already been created that it can exist as a sheet, data recipients, and how it can be implemented is that, this is something that is holding a lot of people back, is just this tiny little link, okay? This is what it can look like. It can look like this. A list of data elements, in SDPC, I can teach you how to customize this top part right up here. You can do some pretty cool stuff with this top part to help with your infrastructure of app procurement in your agency should you need it. But as you can see here, a list of data elements show, and this links to that link in SDPC that we showed you right here. And or it could link to this. One of these two things that is linked to through your display makes it work. A list of student at the following URL. Tooele District has one of these. So a lot of the Learn Platform ones do it, okay? Or look at this. You can list it on your LEA's webpage. Weber, good job. It looks really cool. Oh my gosh, you can post 2 links on your webpage. Click here to visit our metadata dictionary, or you can click here to visit our dictionary of definitions. There are lots of options. We are not telling you exactly how to do it. We are just showing you what options are available to you, what others are doing. As you can see here, adding it to the bottom, the definitions on your Google Sheet. That is an amazing way to incorporate that into your metadata dictionary. Remember, if this is something that is read on your report, you could finish this by the end of the day. And, maybe if you wanted to take a nap after this, by the end of the week, who knows? The last one of a component of the metadata dictionary that is in 53E-9-309 that's not in 309. The metadata dictionary one is different. I apologize. I'm staring into it. The metadata dictionary is posted on your website. See the instructions document for examples of where on the websites LEAs are posting their MDDs. Like I said, some of them are posting it, if you guys, some of you should be proud of your data privacy hubs on your websites. Please, right now. If you are, share where you've done it and why you've put it where you have. And one thing that I'd like to put out there too, calling it a metadata dictionary, maybe we can call it approved applications, something that, I'm a parent, I don't know what metadata dictionary means, but approved applications makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a lot of sense to the teachers. Some in the Google Sheet realm, they make it available via PDF, but it can render really weird. Sometimes when we do that, it loses the ability to have both tabs on the bottom when we publish the Google Sheet template. So follow those instructions on the metadata dictionary instructions thing, or, you can contact us and we can show you some quick ways, because I know, Robert Warren, you don't want to hear this, but we really like the Google workspace and we use it a lot. And it's very easy for us to help you kind of organize and publish this kind of stuff should you want to do it that way. SDPC, there was a way for it to act. So people submitted things. The customized resource listing, if you don't know where to find that on SDPC, we have a tutorial on that metadata dictionary instructions, but essentially this link that you can find, if you go into SDPC, so let's say that you have a read for metadata dictionary posted on your website and you use SDPC and you're like, wait, I use SDPC. Maybe the link that you have to SDPC is the wrong view on SDPC. So you would go under tools, you'd go to customize resource listing, and then step 3, you'll see a URL, and that URL is what you can use for your customized resource listing. That customized resource listing is customizable in that you can put a whole bunch of stuff in there. Yeah, the wrong view. So if it's in the wrong view, we can't see these other elements. They're not viewable on there. Oh my gosh. You can resubmit if you get something wrong, and we can help you. This is not punitive. We can't take your charters away. We can't have the FERPA police come in and